There's a strange paradox in human behavior that I've seen time and time again. People want peace, they crave happiness, and yet they find themselves constantly undermining their own chances of experiencing it. They sabotage their relationships, their careers, their dreams, and even their moments of joy. And what's most heartbreaking is that many don't even realize they're doing it. It happens subtly, almost invisibly, in the way we talk to ourselves, the choices we make, and the fears we hold on to. This is what we call emotional self-sabotage. It is not some big dramatic act, but rather a slow erosion of your own well-being, a quiet betrayal of your own longing for peace. Think about it. How often have you been on the verge of something good? Maybe a new relationship, a career opportunity, or even a healthier lifestyle, only to find yourself hesitating, doubting, pulling back, or even destroying it before it can take root. You tell yourself it wasn't right, or you weren't ready, or maybe you convince yourself that you didn't even want it in the first place. But deep inside, there's that quiet ache that says otherwise. That ache is the residue of self-sabotage. To understand why we do this, we need to go deeper into the psychology of it. Emotional self-sabotage often comes from unresolved fears and wounds. For example, someone who has experienced rejection in the past may unconsciously believe that they are unworthy of love. So when they do find love, instead of embracing it, they start picking fights, doubting their partner's intentions, or pulling away before the other person can reject them. It feels safer to leave first than to be left. But in protecting themselves from pain, they end up creating the very loneliness they feared. Another common form of sabotage is perfectionism. At first glance, perfectionism looks like a good thing. It pushes you to do better, to achieve more. But underneath, it's often driven by fear. The fear that if you're not flawless, you won't be accepted or loved. And so, the perfectionist sets impossible standards, feels constant disappointment, and procrastinates out of fear of failure. The result? They never actually experience peace, because peace requires acceptance, and perfectionism doesn't allow room for acceptance of the self as it is. Then there is the sabotage of overthinking. You know that cycle, where you analyze every decision, replay every conversation, imagine every possible negative outcome until you're paralyzed. Overthinking gives the illusion of control, but in reality, it steals your ability to live. It creates anxiety, it distances you from the present moment, and it keeps you from making the choices that could lead you to peace. One of the deeper roots of self-sabotage lies in identity. Many of us carry beliefs about who we are that were shaped in childhood. If you grew up being told you weren't good enough, or you had to earn love, or your needs didn't matter, then even as an adult, you may keep repeating patterns that confirm that old story. For instance, you might constantly put others first and ignore your own needs, because deep down, you've internalized the belief that your worth is tied to how much you serve others. That belief sabotages your peace, because peace cannot grow in a soil where your own self is constantly denied. So how do we stop this? How do we move from self-sabotage to self-support, from inner conflict to peace? The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. Start by noticing your patterns. Where do you tend to sabotage yourself? Is it in relationships, where you pull away just when intimacy is growing? Is it in your career, where you procrastinate just before an important opportunity? Is it in your personal life, where you deny yourself rest and kindness because you feel you haven't earned it yet? Track the moments when you feel that inner resistance rising, that subtle voice that says, "Don't try, don't hope, don't trust." That voice is not truth. It is fear dressed as protection. The next step is practicing self-compassion. Instead of attacking yourself for sabotaging, try to understand it. Self-sabotage is not your enemy. It is an outdated coping mechanism. It was born from a time when you truly did need protection. Maybe when you were a child, it wasn't safe to express your needs, so you learn to silence yourself. Maybe when you were younger, love was inconsistent, so you learned to leave before being left. These strategies may have helped you survive once, but they are no longer serving you now. When you look at your sabotage through this lens, you can begin to respond with compassion instead of criticism. And compassion opens the door to peace. But compassion alone is not enough. You also need new practices. One of the most powerful is self-affirmation. Rewriting your internal script takes time, but it begins with small, consistent messages to yourself. I deserve love. I am enough as I am. I am safe to receive good things. It may feel awkward at first, but neuroscience shows that repetition rewires the brain. Just as old wounds created old patterns, new words can create new pathways. Another practice is setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. For example, if your self-sabotage comes through overthinking, set a boundary like, I will give myself 15 minutes to think about this decision, and then I will act. If it comes through perfectionism, set a boundary by declaring, done is better than perfect. My peace is more valuable than flawlessness. Boundaries are acts of self-love, and they protect your peace from the parts of you that want to steal it. Spiritual practices also have a role here. Whether it is meditation, prayer, or mindfulness, these practices ground you in the present moment, reminding you that peace is not in the past you regret or the future you fear. It is in the now. Many times, self-sabotage pulls us out of the present and traps us in cycles of what if and if only. But when you return to your breath, your body, your awareness of this moment, you step into a space where peace becomes accessible again. There is another aspect worth mentioning: forgiveness. Many people sabotage themselves because they carry shame from past mistakes. They believe they don't deserve peace, and so unconsciously, they create chaos as a form of punishment. But forgiveness, of yourself and of others, can free you from this cycle. Forgiveness does not mean excusing harm. It means releasing the weight of it. It means saying, I am no longer defined by my past. I am choosing peace over punishment. And as you take these steps, remember that peace is not a destination you arrive at one day and never leave. Peace is a practice, a choice, a way of being that you return to again and again, especially when life tempts you to turn against yourself. If these reflections have touched something in you, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Let us build a community of people who are learning to step out of sabotage and into peace, who are practicing these truths together, so that in this often chaotic world, we can remind each other that we are not alone. Because peace is not just possible, it is our birthright, and together we can claim it.